Well, I can't believe it's been 13 years since we started coming out to this ranch in Mexico. From the very get-go, I've had Connor and his two brothers, Cade and Corbin, with me along for this ride and this incredible journey. We're super excited to be back for the 24-25 Coues deer season down here in Sonora, Mexico. And we're back at our favorite ranch, and we're gonna be giving you guys a little bit of a behind-the-scenes look at some of the work and fun that goes on trying to get this ranch set up for hunting season. One of the things we've done for the past 13 years now is we set up trail cameras, tons and tons of trail cameras. And in some of the wet years, we've set up, nearly 200 trail cameras. I don't think that's going to be the case this year, from what we're seeing. But it's been a pretty dry year. We'll still get out in excess of, at least, what do you think, 100 trail cameras this trip?
Our cowboys on these ranches, they ride horses, and they move these cattle around from pasture to pasture, so they get to see every square inch almost of this ranch. Unfortunately, this is a deadhead that was found by one of our cowboys this season, and we actually wanted to know what you guys think this buck scores. This buck right here that I'm holding, super cool curly beam, and just let us know in the comments, what do you think he scores? It's not a giant, but it's a good buck. And later in this video, I think we're going to measure it for you and actually let you know what this buck scores instead of leaving you hanging. But you know, these cowboys, they pick up these sheds for us, and we pay them for it, and you know, it's a win-win situation because we get to, you know, close the story out on a buck like this that I forget if we have pictures on him, but there's definitely been bucks where they find a shed that we have pictures of them, or they find a deadhead that we have pictures of them, so it kind of helps, you know, further move that story along for us and give us some closure, or you know, leave us guessing a little bit. So overall, it's going to be a super fun trip, and we hope you guys enjoy the tips as well as just the behind the scenes that we have for you.
One of the tips we'll leave you guys with right now is the best way to learn to score Coues deer, or any deer or elk for that matter, is to get your hands on as many shed antlers, deadheads, trophy antlers. Get your hands on as many of them as you can and measure them. Learn to measure them, learn the scoring system, measure them, guess with your friends and buddies, make it a competitive thing. But between getting all of these sheds and deadheads and having all the trail camera pictures that we do, we feel like we're pretty good at putting scores on these things and getting after these target bucks and after these big old bucks and getting them put on the ground. So come check this out with us. It's going to be a fun journey. We're going to spend the next few days setting up trail cameras, looking for sheds, scoring sheds, and just checking out the ranch.
We're setting up cameras. We set up 16 so far. I don't know. Anyway, we're setting them on these two drinkers side by side. Our friend Barry killed a buck, nice buck, off this drinker last year. And we've actually killed a few off of these drinkers, so hopefully something shows up. This pasture, it's full of bulls. Darn.
We've got this drinker right here, and over the years we've had a lot of good bucks that come here. This pasture right here, we've got a lot of bucks in general, young, medium age, and older age bucks. There's also a lot of cows in here over the years. We used to put a camera here on this T-post, and the cows would beat the crap out of the camera in the T-post. So we put this longer T-post up here, and we leave it here all year round now, and the cows don't seem to bother it anymore. So that's definitely one tip, is utilizing a T-post year round in the pasture. If we just put in a T-post, there's 3 cows right behind the camera, and they're watching us. if I were to, you know, just put in this T-post and put a camera on here, in 10 minutes after we leave, they'll be over here messing with this camera. So now that it's up here, they just don't seem to bother it anymore, and we get a nice downward angle at the water trough, so it turns out really nice. But I've got this this T-post mount from TrailCam Pro, and we're giving them a try for the first time this year. I don't have any experience with them in the past, but I've got 3 or 4 of them on this trip, and we're gonna throw this up here. It just slides up on the T-post like this, and then it screws down, and you can really cinch it tight. And now I have this articulating arm with a ball head right here, so I can adjust this camera out at any different angle that I want. It has full range of motion. This is not a real new Browning camera, but this version of cameras I've got a bunch of. It's got the metal back, it's got a display screen. They're really well done for longer ranges, but we're gonna use this one on a short range. Let's get the camera on now. I'm tucking the arm back against the post as much as I can. That's basically set up right there. I've got to go and adjust it and make sure it's aimed properly, but that's what it's going to look like here when it's all said and done. But I'm 6'3", and that's, you know, it's up here 7 feet up in the air, so the cows, they might be able to bang the T-posts around, but ultimately when we got deer coming in to drink, we're going to get pictures of them. So
All right, we're just getting started on the day. It's like 6:45. My dad's over here programming some trail cameras. But this is the ranch house. I don't know if we've ever showed it, but super simple. It's Mexico. It's not going to be, you know, a 5-star resort, but man, it's good enough. And a pro tip, if you're, you know, tall like me, I'm 6'2", make sure you duck in every doorway, because you will hit your head. I know from experience. So duck every doorway. They're about a 6-foot doorway, so duck.
All right, good to go. So we're at one of our favorite tanks here on one of our main ranches, and we're setting cameras, and I just wanted to go over a couple of the different mounting systems and mounting options that we have for these cameras. It's a big challenge every year setting up 100, 200 trail cameras, and so we try to be as efficient as we can and get as many cameras out in as quick amount of time as we can. So we use some of these different mounting options. Obviously, trail cameras, they come with a mounting strap that you can stick your camera on a tree. You're gonna hear me say it probably over and over on this video. These are all working cattle ranches that we're down here setting these cameras on. So the second we put a camera in a tree, stupid cows come and they put their nose on it, they lick it, they bump it, they move it. So the cameras have to be tied to the tree pretty well. Some of these mounting systems allow us to install the cameras faster, but they're not always better in terms of how durable they are for dealing with the cows. This first one is just an elbow with 3/4 inch nuts on it and wing nut. This is the part that we put the trail camera on. This part goes into the tree, and then we have tools that we can articulate the elbow and move the camera left and right. These are really good, but they require the proper tools to be brought in our tool bags, and so they're okay. They work pretty good. They're not super fast. One of the ones that I really like, we got these from TrailCam Pro. This is just a screw that goes into the tree, and then you loosen this part up, and there's a ball head, so it's the camera mounts here, and you've got full articulation here, and you can really tighten it down with this oversized wing nut that comes with it. And so these are really good and really fast. Sometimes these don't screw into these mesquite trees all that easily. We have to pack a cordless drill to get it into the tree. That might be the only downside, but they do work really quick, really easy. We like these a lot. You'll see us use a few of them. This is the same concept. I don't know what brand it is. Ball head wing nut. This is a plastic wing nut that I feel like could break. But you've got a lot of articulation. This plastic sleeve comes off and screws right into the tree. Goes on pretty easy, but this is a good option. I don't know what brand that is, but I think I got it on eBay or Amazon, and those are really nice. HME has this guy. This also screws into the tree here with an articulating wing nut. There's no ball head here, so you don't have full rotation like you do on some of these other ones, but you do have left, right, up, and down. And if you screw this into the tree right, these work really well. That's for the most part how we're putting them on trees. We've also got some of these other options for T-posts. Here's another HME option. Same format for the trail camera part. You've got a elbow and a wing nut, so you have left, right, up, down. You don't have a full ball head there, but this part goes on the T-post. We'll see. The jury's still out on how well these will stand up on the T-post, whether they work themselves loose from cows or for birds landing on them, or just the heat of the day expanding and contracting. But we're trying these out this year, and so far it's a wait and see, my opinion. We'll see how those work. This other one is a Slate River mount, and this slides over the top of a T-post, and this wing nut here locks it on and off of the T-post, and then you have an articulating arm with the ball head. I got this from Trail Camera Pro. Your camera mounts here on this section, tighten it down with the wing nut. You tighten down the ball head here, and you've got a lot of way to bend and move this. So these are cool. We've already used a couple of these on this trip, and I'm liking them, but again, I'm taking a wait and see attitude. Hopefully they stand up to getting bumped by cows and just, you know, birds landing on them and working themselves loose, but it is a good option. That's essentially what we've got for putting trail cameras on trees and T-posts. Of course, we'll use the standard straps and baling wire. We'll continue to use that, but these are time savers for us, and we're gonna really spend a little bit of time this year digging into them and seeing which ones we like the best. So for future years, we'll be able to continue to add to our arsenal and bring on new mounting systems. Let us know if you guys have other trail camera mounts that you like to use, whether it's for trees or T-posts. Make a comment in the section below and let us know what you like to use and how it works on your ranches. Again, too, this is just our opinion on what we like to use. Where you mount your trail cameras, maybe there are no cows, maybe there's no people messing with them, maybe a strap on a tree is perfect for you. That's great. For here on our ranches, these are the things that we're using, and we'll let you know this season which ones work the best for us, which ones work the worst for us, and which ones, you know, maybe it's a scenario-based situation where you use them sometimes, but not in other situations. But let us know in the comments below what you think.
So this is a camera angle that is super important for this specific water hole. We've had a really old buck on this water hole, this specific camera angle, for a few years, 4 or 5 years. This buck is really in his prime. Man, he was a once in a lifetime type of buck. He was, you know, probably well, he had a drop tine on one side, and, you know, probably over that, you know, magic 120-inch mark. But now he's kind of regressed, and he's still cool, but he's just super old. And so we're setting this one up right now to see if we can catch him this year, and hopefully make a play on him.
Here we're going to use one of these little homemade elbows. These cost like $2.50. I drilled a tap hole basically, and they screw in pretty easy. They do take tools to adjust, but they're pretty secure. We've had good luck with them. Downside with them is you got to have your tools in your tool bag. This is actually an older trail camera, and all of the strapping points in the back have been broken over the years from us over tightening it. So, you know, this type of mounting system where you're using the 1/4-20 screw on the bottom is really one of the only ways to use this camera at this point. So, all right, and basically it's on. So now I just have to go back here and adjust the up and down angle and the left and right angle, and we'll be good to go.
So right now, I am doing the most important job of any trail camera setter, upper, holder, whatever, is I am making sure it's aligned. If you don't do that, then the pictures are gonna suck. We've learned firsthand. So I'm making sure that it is coming in the direction we want it. The water's right here. The water is gonna push back quite a bit when we come back in December, but ultimately we want to catch pictures of bucks that are coming along this berm, and so we have this one set up. Chef's kiss. Should be beautiful or handsome. We'll let you decide. Driving down the road, and I found a buck, a deadhead, on a fence. Crazy to believe that this buck died right here on the fence. Yeah, he just died like that. Just kidding. Our cowboys sometimes, when they find stuff like this, they just put it on the fence or put it in a tree. But you know, sometimes they give us the sheds, but obviously this cowboy didn't. So it's actually a pretty cool buck. This super curly beam. I feel like I would have recognized this buck. This beam would have curled up even more too. I would have 100% recognized this buck. So I think perhaps this buck is a buck that came in during the rut this year. This year the rut was super late, so we might have missed this buck. Hopefully he's bigger this next year though. Super cool find. We'll bring it back to the ranch house. We might even measure it. Just for funsies. I want to know what this beam is. But anyway, sweet. So this is just a fence line drinker that is actually pretty good as far as numbers of deer. All of these, there's no cows in this pasture. All of these little dimples is either a deer, javelina, or some other critter. But this tank, we've never killed anything off of it. We have had some guys sit it, nothing came in, but it's more of an inventory anyway. You know, once the rut starts, the bucks, they kind of move off to different drinkers, but still good. We've had some bucks in the past on this drinker. Dante, Magic Man, there was a decent buck here 2 years ago. So this is definitely one that we want to set. But it doesn't usually produce like a big buck that we're able to go after. But anyway, good drinker. We have a giant T-post over there and one over here that we're gonna set. So hopefully it should be good.
All right, so just an update on these Reconex T-post mounts. My opinion, complete junk. As you can see, we've got it mounted on the T-post, but this big locking nut back here, there's not enough threads on the nut portion to properly thread up to the T-post mount, and so it never snugs up. It never fully tightens up. Complete junk in my opinion. Don't waste your 20 bucks on them. It just screws and screws and screws. The inside of this I'll show you. It literally has one thread on the inside of this nut. I don't know how well that'll come across, but literally there's just one thread in there, so it doesn't get enough bite on the mount itself. Cool concept, but this is for the junk pile. It's no good. We won't try these anymore.
Over here in this tree, looks like my dad pointed out some horns. And there is some horns. Funky little buck. He's got a double eye guard, a tine right there, a swell right there, but nothing big. But he's just chilling in the tree. We'll take him back to the ranch house. Why not? So of course, the inevitable happens when we're down here. This is a super productive drinker, and we just don't have the time, and also we don't have an 8-foot tall T-post to put it above the cows. So what do? We brush it in like crazy. So hopefully the cows don't touch that. It's a brand new Browning camera, so that would really suck if they ruined it. So we brushed it in really good. Last year there was a ton of really great bucks on this tank. So hopefully we can get them back on here.
All right, we're driving down the road. Going to put a trail camera up right before dark. Connor says he thinks he saw a shed.
I don't lie, baby. Woo!
He did. I can see it.
He's heavy.
Looks like a good buck from here.
Yeah. Sheds are so deceiving sometimes though, I swear. All right, first impressions, I've not touched it at all.
Heavy buck, good buck.
Oh, he's a big 2.
Oh, that's the 2-point that was...
Yeah.
No, he's chalk. That's not who I was thinking.
We have this buck on camera though.
I think that's the buck that was up here on the drinker that we're going to set.
Yeah. We have him a ton last year. He's heavy.
He's ugly.
He's so
He might
ugly.
be a 3 on one side.
This is so disappointing, guys. But either way, I found a shed, so bam, I'm up 1-0 on the trip. All right, so we're here at another drinker. Pro tip, when you're setting trail cameras, brush, it moves. And so these cameras, they take pictures of anything that moves, and so you have to clear out everything. And on a big section like this, where there's a lot of bufo grass and mesquite trees and all of these different things, we bring a variety of different tools, but ultimately what we've found to be the best is power tools. Just bringing these battery powered hedge trimmers or weed whackers or anything like that, it just works the best. So there's a tip for you. Here at a drinker we refer to as the turd drinker. The story of the actual name and everything like that, we can save it for a different day, but ultimately there's a brown drinker. It's painted brown and it's 1,000 gallons. This is a little corral that we put in so that no cows can get in here and just steer, as well as even a jaguar. We have pictures of a jaguar here, so we'll put it in the actual video. But lots of really good bucks have hit this over the past few years, and so it's definitely an important one that we are looking forward to setting up, as well as getting pictures this year.
Okay, so this is one of those T-post mounts I was talking to you guys about. This is a slow glow mount where it mounts to the T-post, really sick, super good quality. It actually has a mount for the trail camera and a solar panel. So to break this down for you, this is a Browning cell cam. We're testing out the cell phone service down here, and whether or not these Browning cell cams will actually work, I don't know. If not, it'll still take pictures of this little drinker that we have about 10 feet to my right. It's hooked up to an Amazon solar panel, 39 bucks on Amazon. It's wired in. It still has battery power in the trail camera itself, but we've also got battery power coming from the solar panel. This slow glow T-post mount has a ball head mount for the trail camera and a ball head mount for the solar panel itself. One thing I found as I'm setting this up that I don't like, notice how this camera sits up so high, I can't actually aim the solar panel, I can't tilt it to the south like I really like to do. All I can do right now is have it straight up. That's fine, that's gonna work for us, but if this little drinker wasn't so close and I had to tilt the camera down so far to get this drinker, then the solar panel, I'd have to adjust it into a direction to the north or east or west. You want these to face the south to get that sunshine all day long. So it's a great design, it's a great product. I just think that that's a design flaw where this solar panel mount needs to be a little bit higher so that you can actually get the full trail camera to be underneath it, and then you can capture the sun's rays all day long and it would be perfect. But other than that, it's a great product. It's easy to set up, it's super strong, super sturdy, and we'll see how it works throughout the season. I'm sure we're gonna get a big buck or two or three even on this drinker, so we'll make sure to post pictures later.
Okay, we're at a drinker we call bean drinker because the Spanish word for it kind of sounds like bean in English. But this is perhaps the greatest camera setup on planet Earth. Mexico has really provided us with perfection. Look at this. We have the camera back in here. There's probably a dozen cows in this pasture, and it's impenetrable. It's a fortress. It's like, what is it like? When Mexico gives you sticks.
All right, we're just putting the final touches on this Browning Strike Force trail camera. Really love these cameras. This one in particular has a viewing screen, so it makes setting up this drinker behind me really, really easy. We put it on one of these Trail Cam Pro ball head tree mounts. I like them as well. The big problem with them is while the camera is installed here, I cannot get the battery tray open. So that's a big drawback in my opinion. It's easy enough to undo with the butterfly nut and take the battery tray out and put it back on. With the ball head, it's really easy to adjust, but it'd sure be nice if I could use a mount like this Trail Cam Pro mount and the camera and be able to access the battery tray without having to take it on and off. Just my opinion, but we've got it all set up. We've got this all brushed in. Behind the camera here, we've got this big old bull. He's thirsty. He's wanting to come and get a drink, so we got to keep an eye on him. But we got it all brushed in so that after we leave, if he's curious, he's not going to want to come through this big old patch of thorny branches that we've trimmed down for him. So this camera is good, it's ready, and it's a really cool tank too. We killed a 109, 110 buck off of here last year, so we've got some hopes that another big buck comes into this spot again this year, but we'll know here in about a month and keep you posted.
Here's a super good tank we call Lost. Lost is super pretty, but we've never really had anything on it. It's always had like problems, cows destroy cameras or something or other happens, and we actually don't usually set Lost, but because there's not very much water this year, we're setting it with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cameras. One of them is a double, so it's pointed. There's also some track on Lost over here that we're debating in our own minds if it's even a Coues deer or not. There shouldn't be any mule deer here. And there's also, from the looks of it, no cows. So it's either a swamp donkey Coues deer or a mystery, maybe a Sasquatch, maybe. Maybe they have hooves instead of feet. Big foot, big hooves. Maybe. Here's something you want to look for is where the deer are actually coming from.
All of these little dimples are deer track. There's not been cows in here for a long time, so they're coming through this kind of wash bottom to go into the water. So when you set your cameras, you want to kind of be aware of that. And there's a ton of deer drinking right about there. So we're going to make sure we have cameras that cover that area so that we know or can catch them. This normal mature Coues deer track. If you've watched the video of where I measured the buck I was able to kill last January, you'll see a decent Coues track is about the size of your chapstick right here. Here is the really, really big track. The hooves wider than my fingers and the chapstick itself, and it's about the same like length, I suppose, but the actual point is rounded off. Coues deer normally have a pointy hoof. The buck I killed last year had really, really pointy hooves, and he was really, really old. So it's not like they get more dull with age. And as well, for like the mule deer argument, like we had a mule deer really like a lot of miles away, like 5-6 years ago, like a little spike, and we never have ever had a mule deer since. Like there's no mule deer here. So I mean, I guess like a calf could have got it out, but like, I don't know, it would have to be like a super, super young calf, like newborn. But I have no clue. Like, this track has us pretty stumped. So let us know what you think in the comments. Hopefully we get some pictures on this camera right here. Or that camera. Or that camera. Or every camera. Because this track walks all the way around this entire tank. So, I don't know. It was here today though. There's like some mud that's like really fresh. So hopefully it comes in. We'll let you know, I guess, in December when we come back. Here's the track. He walks and walks and walks and walks all the way down this berm. Okay, new information on this mystery track. Okay, so here is one track. Okay, that's it, 100%. That's it right there. I believe this to be the left hoof. Now normally for a Coues deer, the right hoof should be like right here, maybe a little further. Well, here's what we think is the right hoof. So that's not even a mule deer. I think we had one nilgai like 5 miles away that way for a long time, and there's no more nilgai. But sometimes African animals like nilgai do escape, so perhaps it's something epic like a rhinoceros or like a giraffe. Just kidding, it probably isn't those, but it could be like an African antelope. So, because some of our ranches have oryx and eland, and so maybe, except eland are like 1,000 pounds, so it would sink like a lot. I don't know. We'll find out, hopefully.
All right, this is a tank. It's a good sized tank, and we set it with a lot of cameras every single year. Actually, one of the biggest bucks we ever killed came off of this tank. 120 type of really cool buck. We've killed more big bucks off this tank than any other tank on the ranch, but it's a pain in the neck to set cameras on it. There's lots of dead branches and brush that have to get cleared out. That's why we've kind of gone to some of these Milwaukee power tools to do it for us. This is a pole chainsaw right now, but I can also have a trimmer attachment or a weed eater attachment, but it makes clearing out this type of brush a whole lot easier. there we go. One major tip I can give you guys if you're gonna set trail cameras like this, especially in Mexico where everything wants to poke you and stick you, is get yourself a good pair of knee pads. Save your knees, all kinds of rocks and sticky things that poke you. Well worth the investment.
Here's a drinker that Cade sat last year in all of December. We call it Fender, and there's a really good buck on here, real nice 4-point that Cade was sitting for. And towards the end of December, he realized that in the pictures, the buck had a really big gash in his back thigh. And we have him over here about a mile away, in water, like in a metal drinker, and coyotes chasing him out. So we assumed that he was dead, and Cade moved to a different tank, and we never got pictures of that buck again. But there's always some other nice bucks in this area. So we're putting 2 cameras, 1 video and 1 just normal photo camera on this. We're removing that feeder because they don't use it. Anyways, should be good. Excited to see what is here later.
Okay, we just finished setting this Browning dual lens camera. Got the solar panel. I've got the slow glow mount. If you remember here a minute ago, I just installed a different one of these same setups, but I had the camera on the lower portion, ball head part of the mount, and I had the solar panel on the top. Well, I'll give credit to Connor. He was right. If you move the camera to the top and put the solar panel on the bottom, it seems to give you a little bit more flexibility on this. It's a super great setup. I love it. I love the ball heads. I love just the adjustability of everything. We've got a drinker right in front of me, probably 12 or 15 feet. We actually have a second camera that's set on video behind there, another 10 or 15 feet. And this one is set on still pictures. So we can, in theory, leave this camera out the entire season. We should never have any battery issues with it. There's a battery in the solar panel, and we've got the sun. So this is a great tank. Cade sat it last year for a buck we call F-Bomb. F-Bomb, we think, got eaten by coyotes. He had a big gash on him. Maybe there's a less than 1% chance he's around this year, but there's other up-and-comers here that we can't wait to see.
So here's a drinker that we call Cade's drinker, because Cade loves it, and has sat it a few times, killed a good buck off it. But here's a trail going under this fence. Drew Miles from Tricer was actually able to kill a really nice buck right here last year. And we have some super good video of him. Just a super old, super heavy buck. So it's been a great tank for us, and we're gonna set it, and hopefully we get some big bucks on this camera.
One of the things we decided to do years ago was to move some water stations out into the corners and reaches of the ranch that didn't have any active drinkers or repressos or anything like that for the deer to get water out of. What we did was we got these water tanks and we just corralled off an area, I don't know, 50 feet by 50 feet, 75 feet by 75 feet, something like that. Corralled it off, and we truck in the water to these tanks, and it's just piped off behind me here into a little water bowl. We've done this for, I don't know, 5 or 6 years now, and we've killed some really nice bucks this way. This particular setup is literally, I don't know, 70 or 80 yards from the neighboring ranch. Some of the deer that live on that ranch come over here to water. There are no hunters on that ranch that we know of, so we're not trying to be total jerks, but we're able to pull some of the deer from the neighboring ranches and actually harvest them here on our ranch. As may have been mentioned before, this particular drinker right here, Drew Miles from Tricer, he harvested a great buck, 108, 109 inch deer that we've been watching for years. It was a super old and mature buck, and you know, we've got other bucks that are up and comers on this tank, but this is a really unique way for us to hold the deer in an area and to bring them to a specific area so that we can hunt them once they get old enough and big enough for us. We've got 6 or 8 of these around the ranch. The cowboys bring water to them year round, so it's really a great opportunity for us to get cameras and get video and find out where some of the bigger bucks are on the ranch. If you're interested in coming to hunt with us, look us up on the website at madhunts.com or reach out to Kate or Connor through Instagram or through this link on our channel, and we can definitely get you set up on a ranch like this. It's been a pretty bad year for finding sheds as we drive around the ranch, but I just found one right here. Oh, it's an ancient chalk shed. Total garbage, but it's a shed, I guess. Total chalk, 10 years old, trash.
So here's a drinker that normally has water all year long. It's dry right now, but I looked over and found a decent little shed right here. Good buck. He's got good genetics. He's probably a 2.5-year-old buck right here, but a hard white. This is from last year. I would bet we have pictures of this buck, so pretty cool.
This is one of the big water tanks on our ranch, and 2 things you can see from this. We've been saying this is a working cattle ranch, and you can see there are cows in this pasture right now. But also you can see that the water levels are way down. It's just a drought year, and a lot of these big dirt tanks have little to no water in them. This is a tank that we know from past experience. We've talked with the rancher. He will generally pull the cows out of here about the first week in December. So as it stands right now, we're not going to set any cameras on this tank. But when we come back for our December trip, we'll have the opportunity to put up some T-posts and get probably 8 to 12 cameras out here. We have shot some nice bucks on this off in the past. I know that we've shot a 113, we've shot a 108 here, and we've got some videos and pictures of some other tremendous bucks that have been killed off of this tank. So we'll definitely be back here in December and hopefully get some more pictures then.
So something we've asked our cowboys to do that we don't usually just like show in our other Mexico videos is they pick up sheds for us. So it's like Christmas, because a lot of these bucks we have pictures of or everything like that. But I just wanted to pull out one specific shed that really gets me excited. You might not recognize it, but I recognized it right away. This is a buck we call Chubbs. Drew Miles actually killed this buck last year. This is the year before he killed him. Super heavy, a really, really good beam, and just great time length overall. So this is definitely really exciting because our cowboys, they're helping us out because we want to know what this buck scores, and so we'll definitely score it. So we're here walking this water that usually doesn't have water. There's a slight puddle right over here, so we don't normally come out to this part of the ranch. It's been, for me, a few years since I've been out here. But one thing that we always notice is that we find most of our sheds around water. And I was walking this berm, and guess what I found? A shed, go figure. But just on the other side of this berm right here, looks like this buck was coming over and dropped his left side. Great side. Really big beam. Really good G2, but short eye guard, short G3. Such a cool buck, you know. But it just goes to show, always check water. For sheds, check around water within a few hundred yards if that's what you're doing, because they're here. Water is definitely a source to to bring in these mature bucks after the rut, because they're all rutted up or they're rutted down, I guess. And so check your water, because these bucks, they're going to be on it after the season, and they're going to drop their sheds. So great buck. Not a giant, but this buck's going to be over 100 inches all day. So super cool side.
All right, to continue our behind the scenes journey on our ranch here in Mexico, this is a Represso right over here. It's in the far corner of our ranch. We actually built over here one of our little water corrals that we were trucking in water every summer to. I've been working with the rancher here for quite some time now, and finally this year they have plumbed in through the pipeline on the ranch a permanent water source at this Represso. The tank usually goes dry every year, and so that's why we've been trucking in the water, but now we have a permanent water source here. They built it this summer. We're really excited. We've got 2 cameras, one here and one here that we've got hung. We're taking pictures. We're gonna now have a permanent water source and a permanent place where these deer can get water all year round. It's really gonna help improve the hunting on this far corner of the ranch. So there you go. One of the tips I would definitely give to everybody is make sure to work with your ranchers to get water where the deer need the water the most, and that'll really help improve the quality of your deer herd on your ranch.
All right, we just pulled up to the house on our last day here. 4.5 full days of work on our ranches here in Mexico. Over 100 trail cameras set, and I think it's gonna be a really, really good year.
It's gonna be a great year. It's super dry. A lot of the big Repressos that normally hold a bunch of water, they're dry, which means the deer will be hitting bevendedos or drinkers. We got all the cameras set up for it. We're ready to go. It's gonna be a great year, I think.
Absolutely. If you did like this video, make sure to like and subscribe, as well as comment in the comment section below. And yeah, we'll see you guys next week, and hopefully later this year we can put some big bucks on the ground. This is the tree, guys. This right here is where we hang every single buck that we put on the ground. And think about it, we've had this ranch for like 13 years now. This is year number 13, and there's probably been about 100 bucks hanging from this tree because of us. So hopefully we can make it 101 and 2 and 3 and so forth. But this tree has a lot of memories, and this is like the greatest tree of all time. So just kind of a cool little tidbit. Pretty much the best part of the night right here. Best part of the trip, carne asada. Look at that. We have carne asada, pepino, guacamole, all of that. Oh my gosh, I'm about to demolish these bad boys. Earlier in this video, we asked you guys what you think that this buck scores. He's a super cool buck. He's got a curly beam right here. I guess first off, would you shoot this buck? That's the first question. He's not a giant, but he's a great representation of a Coues deer. Without further ado, we measured this buck as is. He's got a few chipped points, but as he is 99 7/8. Just under 100. He'd probably get there. He's got a little chip right here that he would, if it's fixed, probably get there. But as he is 99 7/8. Still a great buck though. It's gonna go up here on the wall of fame, probably forever. So we'll be able to look at him, pick him up, hold him, and it'll be a super cool thing for us to see and to compare to other sheds and deadheads and stuff like that in the future.